All right, we're live. We're about to go over a Black Widow spoiler review. I'm being co-hosted with my good friend Juwan from Geek Vibes Nation. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We just got done with our Loki finale review, and we're about to just go into this. Now, I did want to start off with this. What did you think, really quick, of the comments? I don't know if you've seen them. That Steven Dorff said about Black Widow and Scarlett Johansson, about just basically, I guess it was a shot at comic book movies in general. But what do you think about that? You know, and I know he was in the original Blade. I know Steven. I know he's been in other movies, but coming, it just sounded like a jaded comment. Like, what did you take of that? You know,
I think it was a very ignorant comment from someone who is coming off. Is very ignorant. To me, you can't really. I mean, you can because it's America, but to me, to have an opinion like that when the only thing probably 99.9% of the world knows you for is a superhero movie,
pretty much. Yeah.
you should just maybe keep that maybe to yourself. Like, share that with your friends in like a group chat or having some beers. Don't say it to the world.
Like most of the actors in these movies are established actors.
Yeah.
They've been in other genres. They've been in other projects.
Yeah.
To criticize, especially somebody of Scarlett Johansson, who has other things under her belt. It wasn't like she's been the Black Widow and then that's it.
Right.
It was just such an off-color comment, and it just made no sense. And like you said, it's kind of hypocritical because of where he came from.
And also, it's not a bad thing if your career was made because of the MC.
Not at all. Not at all. There's nothing wrong with using this as a stepping stone, because guess what? It's going to open the doors to bigger things.
Yeah.
And that's why some actresses or actors take these jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them, whether it's their children that want them to do it, like, oh, it'd be really cool if you're in this, but I just to knock an actor or an actress for doing something like this, it's just insane to me.
I mean, there's an entire generation that only knows Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Yeah, unfortunately, but he's been in so many other good things,
right?
Including Sherlock Holmes, which was made right after Iron Man.
But that goes to show you how powerful the vehicle of Marvel and DC are, is that people will look back and go, you're Iron Man, weren't you? And that's why a lot of these actors want to get out of it, is to really kind of get into their acting bag. So people go, man, you were that Oscar-winning actor from this, rather than you're just Captain America for like 13 years, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to just hang your hat on that.
Well, I don't care how many Oscars Robert Downey Jr. wins after this. He'll always be Iron Man to me, and whether he wants it or not, I mean, I'm sure he'll embrace it. But all right, so we do have somebody that was on our stream earlier, did ask some questions. He basically said he would give this movie 9.5 out of 10. Pretty generous. I really enjoyed this movie. I am part of the small about people who actually like Taskmaster. Oh, he's basically saying he's like one of the small groups that actually like Taskmaster. Nat and Yelena were amazing together, and Florence Pugh was amazing in it. I do agree with the Florence Pugh comment. I think this movie had great emotion and greatly timed humor. I do like I don't know how you felt about the jokes. I didn't think they were displaced. There were some that maybe missed, but I was all right with it. The only thing I glossed over his comment, but I do want to say really quick, I wasn't really crazy how dumb they made the Red Guardian. I don't know how he is in the comics, so maybe that's just the way his character is, and I'm sure you'll inform me about that. But he had great, it was funny, especially the scene with him on the plane and them talking about how they have no uterus and stuff like that. I thought that scene was funny, but they did kind of make his character dumb. So is that something that the Red Guardian is in the comics?
No, the MCU with some of its writers has tend to fall on making men seem a little. Well, let me not say that because it makes it sound like we are superior. I was gonna say inferior, but it does go a little the dumb route. Like we know with Captain Marvel, the scene where they were scanning everybody. And it was like the women were like uber powerful in threats. And then it scanned Nick Fury and it was just like, stupid human, like whatever. And it's just like, oh, I mean, okay. All right. But no, I mean, it wasn't, his character wasn't really drastically different in the comics. I'd say this went for a more comedy route with him. But I mean, it was just confusing because the movie starts off with him being such a serious guy, and then you get to the next time you see him, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, the opening scenes when they're they're on the run, and he has to basically give them up because, and he's like, calm down, give me the gun, whatever. You're right. He was serious,
yeah,
and then a completely different character.
complete 360. It was just like,
He was also in prison for a good. We don't know how long, but he was also in prison for a good amount of time. So I don't know. I don't know if that made him the way. I don't know.
it could have. I've never been, so I mean, it very likely could have.
Now we're jumping ahead, but I do want to ask this question because I can see why he would say that. Do you feel that Val completely ruined the graveyard scene? Seeing Valentina at the end, were you okay with seeing her?
Yeah, it's perfect. It let me know that Yelena is part of what I assume will be the Thunderbolts. So to me, it was cool. I mean, it was supposed to be a scene that was supposed to be very emotional,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of lifted by some comedy. I mean, it would have been no different than if picture if Deadpool started with X-23 turning the cross into an X, and then like you just see Deadpool peeing on it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make that scene any less emotional.
Right.
It would just be showing you like that's just Deadpool.
This is Deadpool.
He shows up in inappropriate times.
Oh man.
Wow. I mean, even Yelena said it, like, you're not even supposed to be here right now. This is my time, So she's clearly pointing out that Val does not care about boundaries or anything.
And that was the first time we were supposed to see her, right? Because Black Widow that wasn't added. That was shot already, right?
That was the first shot of what's her name as Val.
Now, I found this funny, and I know we're talking about the end credit scene. We didn't even get to the movie yet, but anyway, so I found it funny because when I was watching the end credit scene, and she's at the grave, she's doing that whistling thing. I thought to myself, we were going to hear somebody whistle back.
Right.
I'm like, how fucking awesome would that be if you hear somebody whistle and then the credits start to roll? Now, that could imply anybody. It didn't necessarily mean it was Nat, but it could imply anything.
Yeah.
That is actually an alternate scene that they filmed.
That someone whistles back?
Yeah. So the director said that was an alternate end credit scene, that someone or something whistled back, and that was the original idea. Or just an alternate version of the end credits that they filmed. So I thought that was actually kind of cool that she said, no, that was actually supposed to happen. Somebody's supposed to whistle back. And we just went with this one.
Yeah, to me, end credit scenes are very dangerous. Like I'll never forget Stark showing up to Ross at the end of Incredible Hulk, mentioning we're putting a team together.
Yeah.
As if Ross was like a fucking Avenger. Like, would you go tell him for? Like, like, and then it never really amounted to anything after that. You never saw Ross and Stark interact until Civil War. So it was just like, what?
And they were never on the same side. So it
was like, what was this for? So to me, if you had done the whistle, all that would have done was have everyone assume
Nat's still alive. Yeah.
Right. And if you're even hinting at that, I don't like it. She's gone. Let's move on.
Kitty's saying that she doesn't think it sets up the Thunderbolts. What other possibility is there? Let's just say that it's not the Thunderbolts.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Let's play this.
No. I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, it's the only reason why it's 100% the Thunderbolts is they're playing with Val's character. She's a mix of two different characters. Her first character was very shortly Madam Hydra.
Right.
But in the comics, she had a relationship with Fury. She worked for S.H.I.E.L.D., stabbed S.H.I.E.L.D. in the back numerous times. Long story less long. She turns out to be the first Skrull Fury encounters heading into Secret Invasion. So this very likely could be the same thing. But the reason why it has to lead to the Thunderbolts is she says to Yelena, when Yelena's like, I want to raise, she's like, well, you and me both.
Yeah.
She clearly works for someone. Yeah. And the only other faction that exists that would even remotely make sense is the Dark Avengers. But that doesn't even make sense because you don't have a Norman Osborn yet, which is why I said it would have been better if the Power Broker's identity was kept a secret, because you could have used Norman Osborn as a Power Broker down the line. But it has to be Thunderbolts, and I assume she's working for Ross, and she's assembling a team for Ross. You even had Kevin Feige come out today and say that yeah, it seems as though she's assembling some sort of a
Yeah.
team.
Started with the U.S. agent. Yeah.
Right. She's doing some kind of recruiting. So to me, it has to be the Thunderbolts. There's really not a whole bunch of other villain teams that would really make sense. Like there's the Masters of Evil, but that doesn't make sense because these two villains so far aren't MODOK. They're not Abomination. So that they're not the leader. So I don't know. To me, it has to be the Thunderbolts.
The fact that we got Zemo behind you, we already got Zemo, we got U.S. Agent, now Yelena. It does make sense, and that was what I was trying to understand. What other? That's why I thought it was leaning towards the Thunderbolts as well.
And a thing that I'll point out to you that I think you'll like.
Go ahead.
This is the second time Nat has mentioned how bad Ross looks.
Yes.
Right?
You think he's gonna?
I think he's dying.
And he's going to have to take the serum.
He'll be desperate enough to take the serum.
Red Hulk.
And we'll get Red Hulk.
Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And jumping ahead, last comment he made before he left. Do you think we're going to get Melina as Iron Maiden?
100%. The mask was in the movie.
Yeah.
The mask was in the
closet, in that cabinet.
In a little, yeah, it was in there. And I was amazed to see that no one else was agreeing with me, but I didn't take it as she was trying to defend her family. I took it as she's been trying to eliminate that guy for forever. She's never been able to. And now that he's gone, I believe she will fill the vacuum that he has now left. And that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to fill that void, but needed the void to be essentially voided before she could
pretty much
use her family to do it, because she essentially thought, well, hell, either they'll die and I can just continue to be the number 2 and no one will be the wiser, or we win, he dies, I take over. So that's how I took that.
All right, so really quick, because then I want to ask you what you thought of the movie overall. She thinks it's going to be the Dark Avengers first. Yes, we think it's the Thunderbolts, but she has a feeling it's the Dark Avengers. Do you see that maybe as a possibility that it could start as the Dark Avengers and turn into, or you're just dead set, she's assembling Thunderbolts?
Well, here's the thing. Norman assembled the Dark Avengers.
Okay, and we don't have Norman yet.
We don't have Norman yet. So if you're assembling them without Norman,
yeah,
I'm sure, could that be a big reveal down the road of, oh, here's Norman, he's your new kind of Stark kind of guy, your business tech guy. Sure. But to me, it's like that's such a long reach of, we don't even know if Sony's going to want to do Norman first. Do a solo movie with him before the MCU can use him. So to me, you've been working your way to the Thunderbolts. And to me, that just seems more realistic. Dark Avengers would really catch me off guard, because it's like, well, you have none of the members.
I think that's her point. It's the simple fact that, well, yeah, about the members as well. Yeah, that's a valid point too. But the fact that everybody's gearing towards Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers would be like that kind of bait and switch. Like, well, no, this is what it's really going to be. And really quick, based on that with the Norman thing, is it a possibility that we get the identity of the buyer of Tony Stark and Stark Tower in No Way Home? And if it is Osborn, if it is Oscorp, do you change your thinking with Dark Avengers, or you're still?
I think we want that. I think the easier thing would be, here's the thing: the director for Spider-Man, is also the director for Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
it's way more believable. That's
the Baxter Building.
Baxter Building.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, is the Baxter Building. I think Oscorp could be a completely different building within the city.
Yeah.
All right. So we're time constrained. So really quick, overall, what did you think of the film?
I thought after this movie, there was no clear reason as to why we needed it. And that was my biggest thing, that if you wanted to do this movie that clearly you should have just had the guts to do 4 or 5 years ago, there needed to be something in this movie that made this movie a necessity to happen now. And it seems as though all it really was just a proper goodbye for Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
And albeit cool, but it really gave me no inclination that this movie was important to be made. As far as the mythos of, like, I left this movie thinking to myself, I would have preferred a movie about Budapest than I would have about what we actually got. Because one of the stories of Hawkeye was one of his first jobs was to take down Natasha.
Yes.
So I would have liked it if Fury sends him to take down Natasha. Natasha tells him, "What if I can get you a bigger fish?" Fury agrees. Budapest happens. End of the movie. You can get Yelena still in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you still get the same end credit scene. So, long story less long. This movie was okay. I do not like what they did with Taskmaster. Feige is very, very wishy-washy when it comes to his villains.
Yeah.
Taskmaster would have been better served in the Hawkeye series. It was a throwaway villain, and Taskmaster deserves better than that. So to me, I would have preferred a Budapest movie.
I agree. You know what? After you saying that, I remember you bringing that up on one of the MCRs, and I had said, well, I know for a fact that Budapest is mentioned in this film.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be the time frame that you're talking about. I didn't realize that it was going to be she was revisiting Budapest or she had to go back there.
Right.
That's what I was hoping for. I thought we were going to get more of an origin story of Black Widow and the thing that she encountered at that time, because they said Budapest so many damn times in other films.
Right.
It just made more sense. We could have even gotten a small cameo from Hawkeye, and you're right. We still could have gotten the Yelena character. It's to me, I'm also with you. This was a movie that even when it was announced, I felt like it wasn't really needed because of where it lined up and where her character was, the fact that she was already dead. I was just too detached from that character at that point. And honestly, without Yelena, without Florence Pugh in this film, I probably wouldn't have liked it at all.
I agree.
I think it was like maybe a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair, generous score. Look, it's a Marvel movie. I love Marvel movies. Don't get me wrong. I'm a sucker for Marvel films, and I don't think it was a terrible film. It's, to me, Marvel doesn't usually miss the mark, but it does. I'm in agreement with you with its villains. I'm all right even with the switch. I think you even told me that. I think you were okay with them changing it to Dreykov's daughter, but just the fact that the overall way that they used or you just didn't like. Did you like the switch, or you just didn't like the way they used him completely?
No, well, more specifically, I didn't mind it being a woman.
Right.
I didn't like it being Dreykov's daughter.
Okay. Right.
I didn't mind it being a woman.
Right.
The idea is you put the mask on. It's like what they did with the Flag Smashers.
Yeah.
That was Carl Morgenthau, not Carly.
Right.
So to me, I don't care about that switch making it a woman. That's fine. He puts a mask on. Who cares? How they did it was just kind of just like, all right, whatever. As long as Taskmaster didn't die, because if Taskmaster had died, this movie would have gotten a 3 from me.
And that's the other thing too. Like you said, they waste their villains. They do.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, Dreykov's daughter isn't dead, but we don't know if she's going to be anything or whatever, and that's why I understand. Like,
I think she'll be part of the Thunderbolts.
It's possible. Yeah, I think you're right. What do you think happens? What do you think is going to happen to all the other Black Widows?
I don't know. I think maybe Yelena and Melina might have helped put them on the right path to kind of start their own lives.
Okay.
Or Melina as Iron Maiden might be weaponizing them for her own little.
Now, that was just a group of maybe like 10 girls. What about the thousands that are deployed all over the country?
That's why I said she might have used them as her Iron Legion.
Gotcha.
Being Iron Maiden. So I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think you show that many and then you're supposed to just tell us they all just went and became normal, law-abiding citizens.
After all that training, all that basically physical abuse that they've gone through, they can't have kids. They can't, they're not going to be able to be normal people. Right. You just don't go through that type of trauma and be normal.
And by the way, I think the use of the Red Room was used better in Salt. I know a lot of people keep telling me I'm wrong, but Salt was just it.
No, Salt was with the Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
I liked Salt. I thought that film was really good.
Yep. So to me, at the end of this, I kind of just went, Salt did it better. Like, yeah, this has the Marvel name attached to it, but Salt did it better.
Somebody brought this up, and I think I never thought of this in one of my Instagram chats. The placement of where the Red Room is. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't Stark have ever seen that?
It's just off the radar. It's off the radar, and it's one of those things, if you don't know to look for it, you're not really paying attention to it.
So you're okay with the location of it? You were okay with that?
there's a lot that's very tightly knitted in the MCU. So I kind of just brushed it off as well, it happens very often to where it's kind of just like, but that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, well, I guess I'm not supposed to care, you know? But yeah, so I mean, my bigger question would be, how did Shield not know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, I think that's what they meant with Stark and Shield, like all that tech and all those satellites up there. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I've thought the same thing too. If you don't know where to look, you know what I mean? But at the same time, the tech that both of them have, I just think Stark was always a step above Shield. But yeah, that's the other thing too. What about Shield?
That's the bigger question. But again, we also know that Shield was very corrupt. So someone in Shield could have known. Robert Redford's character could have known that he was still alive and was kind of just like, he's a means to an end. We'll let him rock. No need to rush into things. But yeah, I kind of just chalked it up to, if you don't really know to look for it, you're not really thinking like, oh, maybe this is still happening. So I mean, because the biggest thing is Natasha didn't know, and that was her home. It still was existing. So so that's why I just chalked it up to.
Look, overall, as I said, and I'm just going to rehash on it really quick. I thought the film was okay. I could have done with a few scenes. I could have done away with a few scenes. And my other major problem is, whether you want to chalk it up to just regular people going toe to toe with super soldiers and being okay. It's the reverse flip for somebody as mortal as Nat. She's not a superhero. All the fight scenes and whatever she encountered in this film, there was never any imminent danger.
Right.
She was falling from the sky. She survives. Even that scene, the one scene that bothered me so much was when they're in that rinky-dink fucking helicopter. And that turret gun or the turret gun, whatever it was that they started firing at it, that started poking holes right through the back. And Yelena's like, oh, whatever. And like they should have taken that helicopter down. That one scene annoyed me. But other than that, look, it's a Marvel film. I get it. It's a comic book film. So, but the other thing too, the pheromones is like, really? Okay. So like you can't smell him, but you got to, whatever. I got lost in a lot of scenes, and that's probably another issue. But the main problem was, like you said, just a few years too late. The character's dead. They pretty much used this film to set up future events, and in a young actress in Florence Pugh and a character like Yelena to catapult her into the MCU, into the future. That's pretty much what this was done.
And we'll see her later this year.
Yeah.
See her in Hawkeye.
She's going to be in Hawkeye. Yeah.
As she takes on Kate Bishop.
With this movie, you set up Yelena to take up Black Widow mantle, if nothing as well. I don't know about Black Widow, but something. What would Yelena's character be in the Thunderbolts? Does she have a name in the comics?
Yelena does become
Black Widow? Okay.
Black Widow and Hawkeye become monikers like 007.
Gotcha.
So they're names that can be passed. So
because she's Hawkeye's daughter is going to take up that moniker, right?
No. Kate Bishop in the MCU isn't his daughter.
I thought Kate Bishop is.
No. It's not his daughter.
Yeah,
you can tell they casted Vera Farmiga as her mom, and it's not the same mom that we've seen in the MCU.
No,
wife.
Okay.
So Kate Bishop is more just kind of like a Padawan.
I thought they were setting that scene up in Endgame when she shoots a bullseye and he calls her Hawkeye. I thought they were setting it up that his daughter was going to become Hawkeye.
Yeah, that was supposed to be more so tongue in cheek of just like
saying the name.
Yeah, I was the world's greatest archer, so like let me teach my daughter.
I gotcha.
But I don't think Kate Bishop is meant to be his daughter in the MCU.
Now, Red Guardian wasn't her biological dad.
No.
Right? No. And then I didn't like that family thing so much. I wish they focused more on the Red Room origin and Yelena and Natasha push-pull, but loved the movie. I know she loved the movie. And look, she's not the only one. I know a lot of people that did love it. Obviously, the gentleman that left a comment said 9.5 out of 10, which was almost near perfect.
Right.
My friend Frank, who's big into comics, loved this film. But, like I said, at the end of the day, I was just too detached to Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow, a character I loved, but just like you said, you said it the best. It was just a few years late. If Marvel would have pulled the trigger and did the movie, it would probably fell after Civil War, right? Oh no, unless they did an actual true origin, it wouldn't have mattered where they put it.
No, it would have been after Civil War.
Okay.
It would have. I mean, the premise, the timeline wasn't the issue. The issue was you waited too long. The character's now dead, so there was no real sense of fear or danger.
Yeah,
because we know she's going to survive it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the idea of this was just kind of like a swan song, which is fine.
Yeah.
But again, if the story was Budapest, I would have enjoyed it. This movie would have gotten a 9 out of 10 if it was a Budapest premise.
That's something that I would have loved to see.
Natasha,
yeah.
I would have preferred that.
I agree with you 100%. And I honestly thought that we were going to get some of those scenes, and that's what when I heard Budapest, that's what I thought we were going to get.
I mean, a lot of this wouldn't have changed. The only thing I would have changed was you're removing Red Guardian and you're removing Melina. But it's still they're still trying to kill him, and you could have just used Taskmaster as a bodyguard, like as a hired help. So you still would have had Hawkeye and Natasha versus Taskmaster, and then getting past Taskmaster to kill the guy they're there for. Boom, same thing. You just eliminate all that fluff in between. So to me, I would have preferred that, especially one more shot of Fury, Hawkeye, and Natasha.
Yeah.
As their kind of way of saying goodbye. Also, their one last shot of seeing S.H.I.E.L.D. together. Would have loved it. And
the emotional weight would have been a lot bigger had you done it that way. You know, honestly, you just gave me goosebumps. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred to see the S.H.I.E.L.D. family together one last time.
Yeah. I agree. All right. Well, I know you got to go. And I mean, like I said, even before we came on, I mean, the way we enjoyed the film, I knew it wasn't going to be that long anyway.
Right.
Really quick, I know we just went over it in the last stream, but where can they find you, Jawan? Where can the good people on YouTube find you?
Everything at Geek Vibes Nation. Our YouTube page is Geek Vibes Podcasts. Twitter is Geek Vibes Nation. Instagram and our website is geekvibesnation.com. Check us out. We got a lot going on, and you will see Joe over in GVN a lot. So make sure you guys follow us over there.
I have such a good time when you have me on. You have no idea, dude. Seriously. I love when I'm invited onto your streams, and that's why I was so excited to get you on one of mine, or actually two of mine now. Also, too, guys, to make it easier, I'm just going to put the link to his channel on there on my on this stream, so you guys can look and easily click on it. So give him some support. Also, at the same time, like this stream, subscribe if you're not already to mine, and we will see you soon. And this is not the last that you'll see the two of us together.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good night. And again, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.